Is waxing around the eyebrows bad for you? Does it cause wrinkles? Is trimming brows good or not so good? There's so many brow myths out there that I want to talk about, and some brow products. Is powder better? Pencil better? How about the makeup that you use? So I'll talk a little bit about that, but mainly getting into some of those myths. So if that is for you, you want to stick around. Hello everyone, it's Jasmine, your brow expert. So I call myself a brow expert because I have been shaping eyebrows for over 25 years at the Anastasia salon in Beverly Hills, and I am still there shaping eyebrows. Obviously, I love it. I love that before and after. And when I see an eyebrow, I know what I can do for them, how much better it can be. But you know, a lot of times nowadays, so many of you guys are getting so good at shaping your own eyebrows that I see so many more fuller eyebrows than I have in the past. Some of you guys have come by and trusted me with the eyebrows. Thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure meeting you. So keep coming, make your appointment. Like I said, I've been doing eyebrows for 25 years, so you can imagine I've seen just about every brow out there, right? I am not a dermatologist, obviously. I'm not an expert in that area, of course. But so if you want to know a little bit more of that, you definitely need to go to a doctor and ask more about what happens with the hair follicles or what you can do. But because I've seen so many eyebrows of thousands, right? And I actually have clients that have started with me since the beginning, over 25 years. So I've seen their progression, obviously along with mine. But if you're really curious, look at some of the men around your life, look at their old photographs and look at how their brows are now, right? Especially the ones that have never tweezed or, shaped their eyebrows. It just changes, ladies. And I don't know if you know this, but when we're born, we're determined how many fertilized eggs you get, right? Once you get that, and that's it for the rest of your life. And then you lose as you age. It's the same thing with follicles. The way I understand it is that we lose follicles little by little over time. Some just get thicker, maybe. Our hair fuzz gets darker as we age. Things like that happens, but as far as I know, you can't get more follicles. Let's get into more of those top myths, right? The most asked question I get, I'm just gonna go with the number one first, and then we'll work down the line here. The number one question I get asked all the time is, do serums work? And you know those lash serums people use on their lashes to extend the lashes? I get asked, can I put that on my eyebrows? I often answer by saying yes and no. Yes, it will make the hair grow. No, you can't get more follicles. So just keep that in mind, because when you think of does it make it grow, you're technically not lying, or at least the companies are not. It forces the follicles to get longer, like it pushes the hair out longer, but it's not making more. Right? So that's why I often say there wouldn't be any more bald people in the world then, right? If it was that easy. That's why transplants are still the popular way to go if you really need more hair or want more hair, that is. So yes, it causes to grow. So it's not like with your head of hair, you're saying that, oh, I got more hair. When you say your hair grew, you're always implying that it got longer, right? It's the same thing with lashes. So the same thing with the eyebrow hair. We're covered in hair fuzz, aside from your underneath your hand and foot, but we're covered in hair fuzz. And as we age, some hairs just get thicker and darker and comes out in areas where you're like, I didn't even know that existed. Good times as we age, right? Okay, so that is one of the myths. And this kind of falls along with the same thing. So the other question I get asked is, what oils work? Does the coconut or what's the other one? The castor oil. Does the castor oil work? So, again, I say kind of like yes and no, and I really emphasize a light yes. I say it works in that it keeps the hair healthy. It can't create more follicles. Again, just remember that. I think what it does is when you start doing serums, especially like these oils, you're consciously trying to make the brows look fuller, right? So you're less likely to tweeze more hair. So I think in that case, it's a good idea. You're putting that investment, that time, right? So you're not over tweezing. You're not using that as a therapy session. I've done that. Okay, so in that line, it all falls into follicles can't be made more of. You just want to keep them as healthy as possible. But you know, all those things like the peptides are good. There are serums out there that does have peptides, so it strengthens the hair follicles. But I think diet and exercise also, it's like the same thing with like your nails, the health of it, this color of your skin. So much of that has to do with your diet. So I think the same is with your follicles. Again, I mean, you're determined how many you have when you're born, especially with genetics. I mean, that I guess that's partly tied together. Let's get into the fun part where I talked about the waxing and the cutting. So I'm gonna show you a video where I think that myth kind of started. The reason why I think this myth started is because when you're laying the wax down, which by the way, I love waxing because it's almost like it's an art to me, kind of like when you're painting, you're almost shaping as you're applying the wax because you're wanting the wax to go right. And see that pull right there? I think that's where the myth started. If it's properly laid down and pulled, you should not have a problem. Look how clean that is. The reason why I love the waxing is that it pulls up the hair fuzz as well, especially for underneath. It gives it a clean slate, helps the makeup to go on much easier. And you're going to see on another model why it's so much more important, in my opinion, to get it waxed. If you can. I mean, listen, there are reasons why you don't want to wax because you could be on some sort of I don't know, some sort of skin treatment. That's when you don't want to wax it. Okay, so here I'm trimming the eyebrows. Now, this model, the hair is just naturally grows up. So you really want to trim those hairs to kind of give that extra shaping. Now I'm showing the wax on the side here because some of us have a lot of strays out here, and as we age, those, like I said, some of those fuzz can get a little dark. So when you wax this area off, it just defines the eyebrow so much more. And look how clean and defined this brow is. I'm going to show you a before and after in just a second, but a nice change, right? She does have a little bit of brow tattoo underneath, which when if it's done right with the right color, it works, right? Because then it's not dominating her eyebrows, just giving her a background. And so, yeah, that's why, look at, see the before with the trimming and then after the trimming, big difference, especially for her, and the waxing. The reason why the waxing is so important underneath as well is because it creates more of that kind of line, right? The line from, it picks up the fuzz. So it really just gives it a thicker look. Very, very, very important. Okay, so like I said again, if you're on some sort of skin treatment, retin-A, retinol, something really intense like a dermatologist prescription, you don't want to get waxed on the skin for reasons of it getting burned. The skin could tear a little bit. So you always want to let your professional know that you've started a skin treatment. Aside from the fact that we're all sensitive right now, I get almost every 100% of my clients state that their skin is sensitive. So I don't know if that's a new trend or something, but I think also with a lot of our skincare, it carries some things in it now than it did back in the day, where it sheds the skin a little bit more, meaning like the dead skin cells. So that could weaken the skin. So definitely let your esthetician know that you're on some sort of skin treatment. And at that point, the professional should know if your skin can handle it or not. Or you can do, which a lot of my clients do, they do half and half. They don't wax any part of their eyebrow above and the side, just down below, or vice versa. They just do the top and not at the bottom. So it's not as clean, obviously, as waxing, but hey, you know, anything will do, especially if they know what they're doing, like myself. I sometimes get asked, what do you think about the threading, which is not entirely new. For those of you that doesn't know what threading is, it's just two strings kneading, it's like a rolling pin going around the brow area to shape the eyebrows. It's an amazing technique. Some people do it for their lip and chin, which is great. We don't offer that service at the salon, but I don't discourage it either. I don't do it. None of us have been trained on it. It doesn't mean that I don't believe in it. I just know obviously more about the waxing and tweezing. And so shaping can get a little tricky. I have seen some really good threaders, people that thread and do beautiful shape, but it's not often. I usually see brows that are just shaped too thin, or the top of the brow area gets too flat because the two strings are just there. It's just taking off too much at the top and just gets too flat. So be careful with that. Make sure that you know who you're going to. and that they're really good at what they're doing. And so, yeah, that's about as much as I'm going to touch on the threading because I don't know too much about it. So, yeah, there you go. Here, there's some of the myths, but if I haven't touched on other myths that you're curious about, please let me know in the comment box, and I would try to answer that. Definitely give me a like if you found that this was informative. But just before I end this video, I want to quickly touch on some of the brow products. I touch on these things when I do my brow videos, but I still get asked, so why not? It's always worth repeating. Do I prefer powder? Do I prefer like the powder with the angle brush? Do I prefer a pencil for the eyebrows, right? I probably frustrate some clients when I say I like them all. But honestly, if you really want to start learning to do good eyebrows, meaning fill them in, try both. If you have access to even eyeshadow with an angle brush, practice and see if that is for you. Because some people can do beautiful eyebrows with the brush. Some people can't. You may not know that you have that artistry in you. But the pencils are just great because it's easy to work with, to learn, to quickly get inside gaps if you have gaps and holes, and then you're out the door. So there's not a lot to it. This pencil I often go to because I like that it has a little bit of a point, but it's wide. So it does so many things, very easy. And it lasts a long time because the pencil goes around, I don't know how far it goes down, but you just have to sharpen it. So that's one con maybe for some. The other is that retractable brow pencil that you guys have seen. This one's a wider length, which I like, but I like the skinny one as well. Now the retractables, obviously you roll it in and out. There's no sharpening needed. It's great for travel. You don't need the step of the brush or the powder or sharpening it. So that's why these come in handy. But because it's a mechanical device, the lead isn't as long as the one that you sharpen. So that is something to take a note. So you know how you are, right? You know if you're the person to like the sharpening or the retractable. So that's something that you may want to look into. Now, the powder is just a great idea if you have a full set of eyebrows and you just need to bump up the color. That's when the powder is great because you just grab some color and just go dust it over your eyebrows. Kind of like you're putting eyeshadow on your eyelid. You're just dusting it over your eyebrows and it just comes to life. That's a really quick tool to use. But makeup artists nowadays, I think we all it's not like, oh, I like the powder better because I'm an artist. No, it's really just whatever we feel, honestly. But sometimes the powder, most of us think or feel that it gives a lighter look, and it can be dramatic if you use a dark color, if you press hard, if you prep the eyebrows with the primer. It can go on dramatic. You can wet it a tiny bit on the side and make it kind of go on like a pomade, but it's not as thick as a pomade. So there's a lot of diversity with powder, and it is forgiving because it's just powder, right? You can dust it off and dust it on, and you can really get a sharp angle because of the brush being sharp and being very intentional in how I'm pronouncing, because I know sometimes I talk so fast that the words get mumbled. I realize that's partly my personality. I will try to get better at slowing down my speech. Brow powders are that. It's powders. So powders are made out of powder. So it gives off more of that ashy tone, especially when you want your color to be very ashy. Now, I do have a video, previous video, if you scroll down, on what colors is best for you with your hair color. If you're just wanting something real quick right now, and you're looking at me going, I'm your color, I would recommend the ash brown. That's what I use. I use only Anastasia Beverly Hills products because I've been with her for over 25 years and I have been in that bubble, so I don't want to steer you wrong. There are probably a lot of other colors and brands out there. These are just what I know. So obviously I'm going to direct you to what I know and what I use on myself. So, and real quickly, I promised you guys that I would try to remember as often as I can what I'm wearing on my face. Right now, I'm just using this tinted moisturizer. I love this product right now. It doesn't stay on really well, but pretty good actually. And I'm using number 12. It's a high number, but it's not that dark. Well, my skin's kind of dark, but it's a very sheer product. but it does have some skincare benefits. You look into that if you look into all the exact the detailed ingredients in the product and see if that's for you. But I love this product. It's just been my to-go, and I've been saying it. It's just easy. You roll it in and out, up and down, easy to travel with. It's a great product, really. The other great product that I always talk about, it almost always, is the lip liner. The reason why I like this lip liner, the Anastasia lip liner, is that it's a generous size. It's not circular. So to be honest, I kind of like this because it helps me to hold on to it better. I don't have to hold it really tightly because of the little ridges around. So there's a little bit more stability with that. I didn't realize that that was a good thing until I started using it. The pencil itself, so many colors. And I am right now using what am I using? I'm using Cool Brown. It's a color that I often go to. I like dark to light browns because it's just easy. And but I'm able to change up the lip pencil, as I've said in my previous video, because I've been using the Sun Baked, I think it's a velvet matte lipstick. As you can see, it was here. Now it's going down because this is how much I'm using it. And I've used lipsticks as an analogy of how to direct pencils, laying down pencils. You guys know by now that I always say, hold the pencil laying down sideways or up, never head on, because then it flattens the pencil, right? You always want your products to be at an angle like this, the lipstick, right? You don't want it so flat. Then you don't get the edges, and you don't get the application as good. So keep that in mind. Okay, so I hope I touched on this well enough. But again, if I didn't on that, definitely leave me a comment in the comment box. I will list all of these products in the description, so don't worry about that. Please, again, give me a like if you like this video. And yeah, I think I've pretty much covered everything. Yeah, I will see you guys right back here. Thank you.